Good morning. This is Kasturi De. I was discussing in my previous two videos on the chapter Heat according to ICSE syllabus class 7. So I was discussing about the changes in the state due to the temperature. Okay. Though I discussed previously the freezing and the solidification point and the melting or the fusion point. Now I'll discuss with the vaporization or the boiling point. Boiling and its temperature also. The process, it's a process, vaporization or boiling, that is the process in which the liquid on heating changes into its gaseous state at a particular temperature. And this particular temperature is known as boiling point or vaporization point. Okay, like for water, for example, water, it changes into steam at 100 degrees centigrade on heating. Now, evaporation. Evaporation is the same thing. Only here it is the change of the substance, that is the change of a substance from its liquid state to the gaseous state, any temperature. It can happen at any temperature but below the boiling point. Okay, like water evaporates into water vapor, changes from the water bodies by the heat of the sun, but this change takes place below its boiling point, below 100 degree centigrade. Okay, now we come to condensation. Okay, so condensation is the process during which a substance changes from its vapor or the gaseous state into its liquid or liquid state on cooling at a particular temperature. Gas state to liquid state at a particular temperature, and that particular temperature is known as condensation point. On being cooled, steam changes into water at 100 degrees centigrade. So condensation point and boiling point of a substance is the same. That is, water vaporizes or boils at 100 degrees centigrade to form steam, and steam condenses to water at 100 degrees centigrade. Okay. Next we come to sublimation. In this process, what happens? A solid directly changes into vapor without going through the liquid state, without going through its liquid state. Okay, so what happens, like dry ice, camphor, naphthalene, ammonium chloride, iodine, they changes into their vapor without going to the liquid state. Okay, now gas is a solid of a substance at or above its melting point, but vapor is a gaseous state of a substance below its melting point. Now solid, melting point or fusion point on heating becomes liquid, and liquid boiling or vaporizes on heating becomes gas. Gas condenses on cooling, and liquid goes to solidification or freezing on cooling. Solid changes and sublimation on heating to gases. Okay. Now, what is transfer of heat? Now, the two bodies at different temperatures and are kept in contact, then heat flows away always from a body at higher temperature to a body at lower temperature. Transfer of heat. That is, the two bodies are at different temperature. I told you the two bodies, when they are different temperature, which are kept in contact, heat flows from hot to cold bodies. This can happen in three ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction is solid, liquid, and gas. Convection is liquid and gas. Radiation is no medium required. Okay. Next we come to conduction. The process of transfer of heat energy in solids from one molecule to another molecule without the actual movement of the molecules. Example, if one end of a metal spoon is placed on a flame, we see that the other end of it becomes hot, heated. It becomes heated. Why? Because this process, the molecules from one end starts vibrating, and it passes on the heat from one end to the other. Actually, the molecules in a solid are tightly packed and when heated, the molecules of solid in contact with the source of heat vibrate faster. Okay, so what happens when when they are vibrating, they collide with the adjacent molecules and they transfer the vibrations of the energy to the adjacent molecule. And in this way, the heat is transferred from one molecule to the other. And this is how the heat is transferred from hotter to the colder part of the body. Okay, you understood? That is, from when solid is heated, the molecules start vibrating first. They get the kinetic energy, they get the heat energy, and gaining the kinetic energy, they start vibrating faster. And while vibrating, they hit on the adjacent molecules. And they start vibrating. And while vibrating, they pass on the energy to the adjacent molecules. Okay. And in this way, this pass the heat energy from one molecule to the other till the end. There are two types of solids. One is conductors or thermal conductors, you can say. Another is insulators or thermal insulators. Okay. Now, what are conductors? Substances that allow heat energy to flow through them easily. That are conductors, like metals. Okay, they allow the heat energy to flow through them very easily. Like silver, copper. Silver is the best conductor of heat. Okay, silver, copper, aluminium, gold, iron, all these are metals and they are good conductors. Then insulators are substances that do not allow the heat to pass through them. Okay, easily. Like they are the bad conductors of heat, you can say, like glass, mica, cotton, cork, wool, wood, asbestos, ebonite, all types of liquids except mercury. Mercury is a very good conductor of heat. That's why it is used in measuring temperatures. Okay. Then air, water, etc. Now some applications of conductors and insulators in the daily life. First is, an oven is made up of double walls and the space between them is filled with wool. Okay, cork, etc. And this way what happens, this wool and the cork, they are, they are insulators of heat. And this, they do not allow the heat to escape from the oven. That's why inside the oven, it is heat is not allowed to escape outside. Okay. So this is the one application of the heat insulators. Okay. Now second one is cooking utensils and pans. They are made up of metals such as copper, brass, steel, etc. And this is due to the metals are conductors of heat and so they heat up rapidly. Because these are made up of metals so that they can absorb the heat very easily and they can cook the food easily. Okay. Now then, cooking utensils, pans or tea kettles are provided with wooden handles or ebonites or plastics because these are the insulators. These substances are insulators and so that the handle of the cooking utensil does not get up heated and we can hold it easily, comfortably. And then an ice box is a double-walled container because the space, what happens, because if it is not, the ice box is double-walled because in between the walls there are certain substances kept like air in the space between the walls, air, cork, glass or wool. So they act as insulators of heat and they do not allow the heat from outside to enter into the ice box and melt the ice. Okay. So in summer, what happens? Ice is kept wrapped in gunny bags or it is covered with sawdust. Why? Because these gunny bags have fine pores, or sawdust also they trap the air. And they act as an insulator. This air acts as an insulator, does not allow the heat from outside to pass into the ice and prevent it from melting. Now, woolen clothes which we wear in winter have fine pores. Why we wear woolen clothes in the winter? Because they have fine pores and they trap the air. and these wool and air both are bad conductors of heat, and they do not allow the heat of the body to escape into the outside, so that our body is kept warm. Then quills are filled with fluffy cotton, which have fine pores. Cotton have fine pores, and these cotton and air both act as insulators, which prevent heat from our body to escape and keep ourselves warm. So what happens, newly made quills are more warmer than the old ones, because in the old ones the air inside the pores have come out. So the newly made quills are more warmer. Next is, during very cold weather, water pipes are covered with cotton. Again, same thing. Cotton has an air trapped in the fine pores, and these cotton and air, they both act as insulators, so that the pipes do not freeze. Okay. Then copper tubes are used in automobile radiators, as copper readily absorbs and conducts away the heat from the hot water which is coming from the engine. Cooling then coils of copper are used in refrigerators and air conditioners for the same reason. Okay, so that it can conduct the heat easily and remove it outside into the atmosphere. It can release it into the atmosphere easily. So that's why copper tubes are used. Then the natives of Alaska make igloo from snow. Why? The air trapped in the snow acts as an insulator and does not allow the heat from inside to go out and keep them in the igloo warm. Then false ceilings, generally made up of plaster of Paris or asbestos, they provide a layer of air in between the two ceilings, and which keep the room warm in the winter and cool during summer. Then mercury is used as a measuring temperature, because it's a very good conductor of heat and it expands quickly on heating. Okay, so I stop here. I'll continue with the rest of the chapter in the next video. If you like the video, press the like button. If you have any doubt, write in the comment box. And if you are a new viewer to my channel or now subscribed here, please do subscribe so that you can get the notification of my next video. Thank you.